Awesome. Welcome, everybody, to our April 2026 Zero Waste Task Force meeting. Our topic this month is textiles recycling, rags, or riches. So, for those of you just joining us, feel free to introduce yourself in the chat, include your name, if you are with an organization, and where you're joining us from. And our icebreaker on topic for this month is, what creative way do you upcycle your threadbare threads? So, with that, WAS is an alliance of organizations from across Westchester County working to close the trash incinerator in Peekskill that burns the county's waste. It is the largest industrial air polluter, and as we'll learn today, a lot of what it burns can be diverted and is still valuable. So we should not literally have our assets up in smoke, not to mention the health impacts. So we will be covering today. I'll do the welcome, and I've got some really great announcements and updates for you. Then I'll pass it off to Carmelina, who will do the basics of fast fashion and why it is bad for the environment. Then we are joined by Vincent Ferrari Rivas from the Westchester County Department of Environmental Facilities to really give us a deep dive and answer all our questions about textiles recycling here in Westchester County. Then, of course, we'll have our Q&A and our community discussion as we always do, and we'll take action as we always do. So, our big announcement for today is something we announced we were going to do beginning of the year, and we're ready to roll it out to you. We are partnering with Federated Conservationists of Westchester County to host a Westchester Waste Summit. We are going to be bringing together experts, business people, municipal and county officials, and outline the solutions that we already have to our waste management system here in Westchester County. And we want to make sure we get decision makers in the room so that they can go home at the end of the day knowing that the solutions to move the county away from incineration and towards zero waste already exist. So I encourage you to join us and to make sure your municipal elected officials and civil servants, like in your Department of Public Works, your city manager, that they make sure that they know that this event is happening and encourage them to join us. So if Caitlin, maybe you could drop the links in the chat. The registration went live today. So you can go ahead and click on that, register. There is a registration fee of $40. If that is an impediment to your participation, please reach out to us. No one will be turned away for an inability to cover that $40. We want you there in the room. So please reach out at wasspeekskill@gmail.com if that $40 is a barrier to you or your municipal officials participating. But it's going to be Friday, May 15th, 9 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. at Pace University's Elizabeth Hobbs School of Law in White Plains. So we are really excited for this event. We've got a lot of excellent speakers lined up. We're going to be putting out a full agenda soon, and we encourage you to join us and have the decision makers in your community join us so they can appreciate how easy it is to get us to zero waste. So, with that, I am going to hand it off to Carmelina to give us the basics of fast fashion.
Hi everyone. I'm Carmelina, just a volunteer with WAS. So we're going to be covering fast fashion today and just textiles that are going into the incinerator. So our trash incineration pollutes the air that we breathe in ways that are unmatched by even obsolete electricity production methods like burning coal, but that harmful cost is ignored very often. So we're going to watch this brief video just to get an overview.
I think we can't hear this. It's in your closet for a while before being donated or put.
Well, people on average are buying 60% more clothing today than they were 18 years ago, and they keep those clothes about half as long.
Brooke Katz explores the issue of overconsumption. It happens over and over again. You see something you like online, place an order, it's in your closet for a while before being donated or put directly in the trash. But now with fast fashion, that cycle is repeating at breakneck speed, and shoppers searching for new looks at low prices love it. Hundreds of people lined up in Plano last month at a pop-up shop for the brand Shein. Customers who were already regularly ordering online waited hours to buy even more.
I actually just placed an order last week, probably like once a month, at least once a month. I order sometimes twice a month, 2 times a month.
Their social media feeds are feeding the need to buy it now.
Literally whatever is popping on Instagram, you can just get it. You see it on TikTok. As soon as that trend pops up, they already have it in their website. I'm always finding something that I need, wear it and move on.
But that moving on is filling up our landfills. It's estimated that the average American throws away 81 pounds of clothing each year.
It's a bombshell source of pollution in so many different ways.
Professor Mary Ann Cairns is an environmental anthropologist at SMU. She runs a research center that studies the impact the fashion industry has on the environment. From piles in landfills to factories dumping contaminated wastewater, the pollution from global shipping, and the exploitation of workers, in some cases with sweatshop conditions.
If you're paying $5 for a t-shirt, think about if you were going to sew that t-shirt, wouldn't it be more than $5, right? It's not a thing, right? That $5 t-shirt, something somewhere was hurting the environment or potentially hurting laborers or something like that.
Karen says to think about your clothes like your groceries. Quality, organic, locally sourced, good for the environment.
I'm not here to tell people exactly what they should be spending on clothing. I'm not here to tell people that jeans should cost this amount. I think that's different for every person, right? But I think that everybody can kind of rethink the way that they're conceptualizing what clothing should cost and take into account the actual cost of labor, the actual cost of the fabric, the actual cost of that item to the environment.
Our goal was really to rethink our consumption practices in order to make a change.
UNT professor Eva Yestratievich is studying sustainability, using her students as the subjects. 755 students tracked their shopping habits for 3 months. The data showed together they purchased nearly 11,000 new items worth $750,000.
First impression was complete shock that they invested this amount of money to buy this amount of items they don't need.
Students wore the new pieces on average 5 times each. Every 6th item was never worn.
There is a lot of social pressure to purchase new, to buy new, to exchange clothes more often.
And when they did get rid of the clothing, 90% of students were likely to put it directly in the trash, blaming poor quality, fit, or outdated style. Yestratievich helped launch a series of mean green fix and wear workshops to teach students and faculty how to mend their own clothes, from small holes to loose buttons to bigger problems. But Karen says the real fix comes from changing how we buy.
It's okay. You're allowed to like fashion. I like fashion, right? But just being more mindful about how you consume it.
That was Brooke Katz reporting.
Okay, cool. So based on that video and just considering our own shopping habits, the average American discards 100 pounds of clothing per year. This graphic on the bottom shows that as we continue to generate, our generation has only increased since the 60s. We're producing more clothes, and more of it is then needs to be managed by our waste systems, which aren't as robust as they can to keep up with the amount that we're consuming. According to the UNEP, fashion is the number one source of ocean microplastics. A lot of our textiles are being made of polyester. 70% are synthetic fibers. So that's polyester, nylon, acrylic, elastane, and even can sometimes considered bamboo as like a greenwashing kind of, it's no longer a natural fiber once it's been produced in this way. Polyester production accounts for 98 million tons of CO2 emissions per year, and synthetic fibers account for 1.35% of global oil consumption. We also have vinyl chloride as the VC and PVC, and that is linked to increases in cancers. So our own clothes are cancer causing through our production. So considering how we dispose of them, next slide, please. So kind of like a twofold issue. So if it's landfills, I mean, a lot of people, we're diverting our waste, or we're diverting our clothes to be donated because we're over consuming. Those excess clothes are ending up in the global south through these kinds of exchanges. One of the bigger places and one of the most polluted areas of textiles is in Ghana, where 40% of secondhand clothing becomes their waste. It's about 4 to 6 million garments a week that they have to handle. It's stressing their waste management systems and overwhelming their capacity that they cannot keep up with. So the landfill becomes literally just the land that they have, both in land and waterways. And those garments that are containing plastics, those unnatural synthetic fibers, can take up to 200 years to break down in these landfills. Without the viable waste management systems to support this capacity, the clothes are being burnt in open air. So all of those materials are releasing toxic pollutants. And these are long-standing fires that can last up to 11 months. They have a dark smoke, they're releasing the air pollutants, carbon dioxide, and other greenhouse gas emissions. Let's go to the next slide, please. Hi. So, in our own waste stream in Westchester, we have textiles make up 5% of our waste stream, which is a significant one that we could easily address. And Westchester County promotes Help See. So several municipalities have this textile program that can provide scheduled pickups. There's also bins, and there's the opportunity to dispose of clothes, shoes, towels, rugs, and other materials. Let's see. And we can go to the next slide as well. Thank you. So these are some examples of the things that are considered textiles that can be recycled through programs and even at the Household Materials Recovery Facility, which we're gonna learn a bit more about with Vincent, just on working with Help See, working with the Material Recovery Facility. But all in all, there's a lot of items that do not need to end up in our regular trash bins to then be burnt at the Wheelabrator. Yeah, so the next slide, I pass it over to Vincent.
Hi, everyone. It's okay to share now?
Yep.
Okay. Give me one moment. Okay. Everyone can see this all right?
Yes.
Okay, great. Let me see if I could minimize this. All right, so while I'm doing this presentation, the chat has gone away, but if something comes up, I'll take a look once I stop sharing and bring it back up. So I'm not ignoring you, I'm just disappeared on me. Okay, so thank you all for having me this evening. I'm excited to talk about textiles. I think it's a program that especially recently has shown a lot of success, and I am excited to share some of that data and information with you. All right. So Westchester County's Department of Environmental Facilities, I'm sure many of you are familiar with us, but if not, just a quick refresher here. So DEF, we operate the Refuse Disposal District, which services approximately 90% of the county's population. That 10% not accounted for, that's the out-of-district municipalities, mostly the northeast part of Westchester County. DEF also manages multiple transfer stations, the material recovery facility in Yonkers, which is where all the recyclables go, the household material recovery facility, which Carmelina just talked about. That's a place where residents can bring all sorts of things, chemicals, paints, electronics, and textiles, which we'll talk about. Right across from the HMRF is the Compost Ed site, which I think some of you were just at recently. That's a great site. It's only a few years old, but that site takes in food scraps or food that can't be donated from food pantries, gets turned into compost, and then that compost is donated to not only residents, but community gardens that then grow food and donate that food to those who need it. So it's a great full circle sort of operation there. And DEF is also responsible for a whole bunch of other programs, obviously textiles, which is what we're talking about today, organic yard waste program, residential food scrap transportation and disposal program, RFSTED, we call it. The electronic waste program, so e-waste pods that you might see in your local DPW yards, mobile shredder, which may have come to your municipality to shred your documents, boat wrap recycling, household recycling day events, which are essentially traveling HMRF. It's one-day events. We have a couple coming up. I'll plug those at the end and talk about it and how it relates to textiles in just a couple slides. And we also do educational tours, not just at Compost Ed, but at the MRF. So textiles, and Carmelina, you mentioned some of this information already. In the United States, the solid waste stream is estimated to make about 5 to 8% of the solid waste stream. That's from the EPA. And in Westchester County, it's closer to around 5%. The Stony Brook does a material characterization study. And through their sampling, they estimated it's around 5%, just as Carmelina had mentioned earlier. All that is to say is that there's an opportunity here to divert a material stream from the garbage. And I think it's a really great opportunity, especially because textiles is something that is easily identifiable, I think. Clothing, we can identify a lot easier than some other items that we try to recycle or question. So textiles is a great one. And DEF has been having some sort of textile recycling program for at least 10 years now at the HMRF. They've had a textile bin on site. But in 2022, the program really started to expand in working with HelpSee. So we went from 1 bin on site to 3 bins on site. And HelpSee also started coming to those household recycling day events that I mentioned. And residents could now bring not only textiles to the HMRF, but to these traveling one-day events throughout the county. It was a way to make textile recycling a little bit more accessible and just grow that program. Then 2 years later, 2024, so pretty recent now, I think it was March. So we're in 2 full years of this curbside part of the program. DEF started working with HelpSee to lead that curbside collection. So DEF entered into contract with HelpSee. This is a free program. Westchester County does not spend any money on it. Any municipality, whether you're in district or out of district, can join this program, no charge. The municipality would reach out to DEF. We connect them with HelpSee. They work with HelpSee to pick a collection date. That date is in so far right now, as it stands, Tuesdays or Saturdays. It's changed over the duration of the program, but right now it's Tuesdays and Saturdays. HelpSee then provides municipalities with a scheduling link, and HelpSee manages the scheduling. Residents can use that link, type in their address, select a date, and then that's it. And then HelpSee will come on those dates and collect the textiles directly from residents. So HelpSee does basically the whole program, and then on top of that, they pay a per pound rate to municipalities for all the textiles they collect. That money goes directly to the municipalities. It doesn't come through Westchester at all. once we connect a municipality to HelpSee, then that relationship sort of runs itself. So it's simple, and I think that's part of the success of the program, is that it's so simple. Okay, I'm going to get into some of the data and the specific elements of our program. But first, I just want to provide some information about HelpSee. And all of this information comes directly from HelpSee. They shared this information with us. So HelpSee is a certified B Corp and public benefit corporation, founded in 2017 with the mission to keep clothes out of the trash, provide honorable work, and earn growing profits. Thousands of collections across 10 states. I have a graphic on this. I think it's the next slide. You'll see their footprint. They have collection bins, they do home pickups, they do clothing drives, and they work with thrift stores to collect things that they can't sell, but also to sell to thrift stores. And they have a warehouse in North White Plains where much of the collected material at Westchester, that they collect from Westchester residents goes, and it's hand sorted there. Let's see. Yep, here's the footprint that I was referring to, all up and down the Northeast coast here. And on the right, you may have seen those collection bins around different parts of Westchester, and these are the bins that we have at the HMRF. We have 3 of them. Here's a graphic provided by HelpSee, breaking down their work into 3 key elements here: environmental, social, and economic, outlining the CO2 avoided. They're really proud of the living wages that they provide, the community work they do with different clothing drives, and the economic impact, not just in job creation, but in cost avoidance through not throwing clothes out. I can stay on this for a second if you guys want to see it. All right. So some important information here from HelpSee. 95% of the clothes that HelpSee collects are sold for reuse or recycling. 5% are unusable. And you'll see in the next graphic what they can't take, and what they can't take is contaminated clothing. So if anything had blood on it or was severely stained or something like that, or hazardous, that becomes contaminated and unusable. Of the clothes sold, 90% are sold to bulk graders and thrift stores, and the 5% of that 95% are recycled textiles and turned into wiper rags, seat insulation, carpet padding, or shoddy. So predominantly reuse, but there's recycling there as well. Here's that slide I was referencing, and all stuff that Carmelina had included in her presentation here, with an emphasis up here. If you see my cursor, I'm not sure, but they can accept anything, any size, any type of clothing, as long as it's clean, dry, and odorless. Again, nothing contaminated can be accepted or should be included in any sort of donation or drop off. This is on the HelpSee website. It's also on our Westchester County's website. You can find this information as well. Okay, so that's a little bit about HelpSee, some of the work they do across their company. And now I'll share the 3 major parts of the DEF textile program: the HMRF, HRDs, and this curbside program. And all focusing on the work that we've done with HelpSee since 2022. So since 2022, we've had those 3 collection bins on site. Residents can make appointments at the HMRF. It's open Tuesdays through Saturday. They can do that online. They can call their recycling helpline. They can drop off their textiles along with their paints and chemicals or their microwave or whatever, a whole nother number of things. But here, textiles, since 2022, we've collected almost 128,000 pounds of textiles just in those bins. So a 4-year average of about 31,000 pounds. Here's just to visualize that on an annual rate here. You see steady growth, 2022, 2023, 2024, and a bit of a dip here in 2025, which I will talk about in a few slides. Our household recycling days, again, this is our traveling HMRF. And since 2022, textiles have been accepted at these HRDs. Since that time, we've hosted 21 HRD events and collected almost 23,000 pounds of textiles from residents, which not so bad. 21 events, 21 days, compared to a full year of HMRF here. Again, you could see the annual collection here. Again, that drop in 2025, which I have a theory about. And here's my theory. Curbside collection started in March 2024. Since that date, we have 19 municipalities actively participating. As I mentioned earlier, residents can schedule their pickups online through a link. This is often on your municipality's website. You click that link, you put in your information, Helpsy comes, picks it up. There have been over 4,000 total pickups, and there's been almost 217,000 pounds of material collected so far. And I have a summary slide. It's the next slide that you'll see like how this compares to the other two programs. But you can just see that number is massive compared to our other two programs. I also included here this average weight per pickup, so 54 pounds. I think that's about the max amount of weight you can bring on an airplane in a suitcase. So to visualize it that way, but also in Carmelina's presentation there was a note about 100 pounds per year gets discarded. So 54 pounds per pickup, there's an impact there. We're having an impact, cutting that in half. I think as this program grows and more people know that it's available to them, maybe we could chip away more and more at that 100 pounds per year. That would be great. And my theory here about the 2025 numbers from our HMRF and our HRDs is that I think this program, for the folks that knew about it, it was just so much easier than getting in your vehicle and driving to an HRD or driving to the HMRF. You could just walk out your door and do it. And I think that may have taken some of the volume away from our other programs. But in this case, I think it's for good cause. So here's that summary slide I alluded to. At the top, the curbside collection program. So again, we're in 2 full years of data here. So for curbside, the other two are 4 years. So the HMRF and the HRDs combined is like nearly, I mean, it's a little more than half of what we've done in 2 years for the curbside program. I think that just emphasizes the success of the curbside collection program and the importance of a simple and accessible program. So our total impact here since 2022 is 367,000 pounds of material. How to get involved? I believe I saw this list again on Carmelina's slides here. These are the 19 participating municipalities. So if you are from any of these municipalities, look into your municipal website. There's probably a link somewhere for you to schedule an appointment. We are currently actively reaching out to all the other municipalities to reach out and try to get them onboarded. Different municipalities have sort of different processes of getting started with this program, different sort of approvals sometimes it sounds like. But from our perspective, any municipality who's interested in joining, it's as simple as getting in contact with us, signing a quick form, and then we can hit the ground running, connecting them directly with Helpsy, getting collections going very quickly. So if you're not on this list, feel free to reach out to us or your municipal officials and have them reach out to us to get that going. But as I said, we are actively reaching out to municipalities right now. Okay, this is just sort of a recap of what we talked about in terms of getting involved in these programs that we have established. So as I mentioned, the HMRF, you can make appointments online or by calling the recycling helpline. Recycling helpline number down there, 914-813-5425. And the website's up there as well. Tuesdays through Saturday, 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. If you've not used that website in a while, it's changed, but I hope for better. There's one of our biggest complaints about the HMRF is that we didn't have enough available dates open. And so that calendar has been expanded. I think it's now four weeks of availability is open. So hopefully that helps folks get in there. We strongly encourage reservations. That being said, we try not to turn anyone away if you show up. So that's an option. And then these HRDs that I talked about over and over, we have two upcoming events, April 25th at FDR State Park in Yorktown and May 2nd at Sprain Ridge Park in Yonkers. Both events are 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. And you are welcome to bring your textiles, your paints, your coffee makers, whatever to those events. No reservations needed for those events, so sometimes that works better for folks. Also on a weekend works better for folks, but HMRF can also be available on a weekend. Oh yeah, the recycling helpline, just want to point out that that is always available 7 days a week, 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. if you have any questions or want to make a reservation. Okay, that's our recycling textile program. We have just some contact info here. General Westchester County DEF question line is a great place to get questions sent to and get your questions answered. Again, recycling helpline, our website. And on our website, we also have a link to all the municipal offices. If you're, I'm sure you all know how to get in contact, but just in case, we have phone numbers there, websites there that you can access. And that's it. I'm going to stop sharing and look at the chat just in case, because I see some things in there. All right. Thanks, everyone.
Carmelina, would you like me to share the rest of the slides, or do you want to go to the Q&A?
Do you want to go through, should we go through the slides or should we go through the chat? I guess we could do like a little bit of both.
Yeah, so we had.
Maybe we'll go to the chat since I feel like this was covered.
Sure.
Yeah. All right. So just kind of looking through here. Thanks so much for that, Vincent. So one of our questions is, how does the financial relationship work? Is the county paying for disposal or getting a cut of the sales to resellers?
Sure, I can answer that. So the county, Westchester County, is not getting any cut. We are paid a per pound rate for material that is collected at the HMRF, and that's it. Municipalities are paid a per pound rate directly from HelpC for the material they collect, and they don't pay for anything. So it's a free program to participate in. There's no cost, and there's a small amount to be made on what you collect. And that's the extent of the financial relationship.
Okay. So, all right, let's see. Here, let's move. We're going to jump to this question because it kind of plays off that one. Does the county know, or does the county have a breakdown of where the textile's final destination is?
I do not have that information.
Both for what's collected from HelpC and from the HMRF?
So the HMRF is also HelpC. So no, I HelpC collects it, but I don't have that information.
All right, what else do we have here? Um, Another question is what happens with the parks donations bins? This one I've noticed it's collection bin at the Croton Dam and it says donation goes towards the Parks Department. Is that still with HelpC?
That is an excellent question that I would need to look into because I do not know about that bin, and they might have their own relationship with HelpC. Is it a HelpC bin? I'm not sure, but great question. Something for me to look into.
All right. Another question here. Did the recent study do any CBA to find out how much the county could be making if it ran the sorting and selling itself? Excuse me.
Uh, I don't have an answer for that either. I'm not familiar with um, any sort of study like that. I mean,
That was my question. I guess I'm just, getting at clothing is way, and textiles, I would think, is way less like dirty than other kind of materials. Just need a big building. So I just didn't know how big Helpsy was. And if we're just getting kind of a minimal per pound amount, it would seem that this could be even a job creation or money making endeavor for the county or municipalities to take on instead of outsourcing. And I just wondered if that was part of the recent uh, waste study, waste reduction study that the county did. I mean, I didn't see anything that detailed, but I wondered where they were going with it.
I've not heard anything about that, but I think that's an interesting idea. Helpsy's footprint is fairly large, especially in this Northeast area. So I don't think it's a exactly small operation they run, at least.
Okay. Thanks.
Thank you.
Courtney, do you want to move to the next slide? Unless there's more questions, maybe something will come up. So what else can we do? So donations to local organizations. So there's homeless shelters, immigration services, family services, women's shelters, and prisons, thrift and vintage stores. Thrifts, and then we have a community swaps. So buy nothing groups on Facebook, clothing swaps, Recycle. There's also always upcycling textiles. So repurposing them to become usable, mending your clothing, and just anything to keep it out of the waste stream. Of course, we're going to have some amount of waste, but reducing as much as we can with the things that are still usable and can be beneficial to someone else. And take the next slide, please. Hi, so our action item for this week is, for this month's task force, is to reach out to your municipality if you don't see it listed to ask them to participate in the county's HelpSee curbside textile recycling program. Let's see. So just going to follow that link. Let's see. Do we have? Let me see. Also, we can see in the chat, Lila just put in reuse, recycling, textile, and thrift resources document that we're working on. So that's just honestly a small list in comparison to what's out there for where you can bring your clothing and who it could benefit if you are leaning towards a particular mission you want to support.
So this would be one small action item for folks on the call. If anybody should be able to click through with that link and add anything to the document, because we really are trying to find places first where clothes could be donated and really used by local populations who need them. Um, so all sorts of then other thrift stores. We'll add consignment stores, other ways to donate. And in addition to the county's program. So if anybody has favorite places to dispose of their clothes, please add it to the list.
Thank you. Then once we're settled on this, we can go to let's see, the next slide.
And Caitlin, were you able to drop the link so people could, because that list there gives the contact info for all of the offices. So people can use that, like can see where they're, who to reach out to in their municipality. So if we can get that dropped in
Okay,
there,
sure.
Okay. We're also anticipating hosting a clothing swap once we find a date and a good location for that. Mostly the location, but that's to be on the lookout. It's gonna be open to bring your clothing, swap it out, and then anything that we have left over is going to be donated with an organization that is to be determined. All right, and the list of municipal offices just was put in the chat. Cool.
great. All right. So we can, do we want, I guess I can, since we're close to the end of time, maybe I will keep sharing and just go through a couple of we've got a bunch of upcoming events happening, and then we can switch back to Q&A and discussion and just kind of hang out until we're, make sure we've answered everyone's questions. But so just to reiterate again, we've got our Waste Summit happening on May 15th. We encourage you all to join us and to send this announcement to your municipal civil servants and elected officials and decision makers so that they can come and learn about the solutions that exist. And then it feels, I've been telling people, I feel like Santa Claus around the holidays. We have so many amazing upcoming events happening in the next month and a half. In no particular order, WAS will be at the Bedford Earth Day Festival on April 26th. We are going to be at Green Osening's Earth Day Festival on April 25th. We are going to be in Croton on Hudson for their Earth Day event on Saturday, May 2nd. This weekend, we will be in Mount Kisco on the 19th for their Earth Day celebration. And then two events that we could use your help with volunteers for. One is Peekskill Pride in the Park. We are partnering with Peekskill Pride, Peekskill 100, and the Peekskill Conservation Advisory Council, and Anthony Carbone from Sustainable Materials Management again this year to provide composting and recycling at the Peekskill Pride event in the park to divert as much waste as possible from the trash incinerator. So if you want to join us for the afternoon and help make that event zero waste, we'd love to have you. And then the Hudson River Music Festival is happening in June. It has an amazing lineup of musicians if you have not looked at it yet. And so if you volunteer, and Caitlin, we can drop, there's a whole bunch of links you could on this slide you could drop in the chat. If you volunteer, they are committed to making the event zero waste. And if you volunteer, you get into the event for free. And you get to camp the night before, also, I think, for free, and get dinner and everything. And you take your shifts, helping everybody to sort their waste to make the event zero waste. So it's an all-around great event. Last year was the first year of the this revived Croton Festival. It was a lot of fun, and I think this year will certainly be the same. And they do need volunteers to help successfully make it zero waste. We also this next week have WAS will be there. I will be there joining and asking a question about Title V air permits and how long they are expired for, including the trash incinerator. For the Earth Day Candidate Forum, it is in person at the Stony Point Center in Stony Point, and it is sponsored by Food and Water Watch. And if Caitlin's having trouble finding the links, when I stop sharing, I'll post them in the chat. And then we are co-sponsoring this event with the United Nations Association of the USA Westchester chapter on May 3rd, Sunday at Manhattanville College. They're doing this program, Global Goals and Local Roots, Food Security in Westchester, along with Ruby, who is going to be moderating the panel discussion. She's a member of our WAS core group, and it looks like it's going to be an amazing program. We'll be there tabling. So we'll put the link for this in the chat, or you can go to unawestchester.org for more info. On the Monday, May 4th, we are co-sponsoring a screening of the film The Plastic Detox, and it will include a discussion and Q&A with Sarah Evans, PhD, MPH, Masters of Public Health, to talk about the effects of plastics and chemical exposure on fertility and health, and also about how you can work at this state level to help reduce plastic pollution in New York. Lily, I'm going to mute you. And then there is a lobby day with Beyond Plastics on Monday, May 11th. There's a bus from Westchester County to go up to Albany. We definitely need people to join and be talking. Basically, you don't have to do a lot of talking if you don't want to. There'll be a lead person for each group to go around to the elected officials up in Albany and meet with them or their staff and push really hard for PREA, the Packaging Reduction and Recycling Infrastructure Act. This would be a huge deal. We toured the MRF, the Materials Recovery Facility, recently as well, and saw the massive amounts of plastic that our DEF is trying to handle, and the expense and the technology that it takes. If we could get this bill passed in Albany, it would reduce the amount of plastics being even made or sold in Westchester County, in New York State, dramatically. And it would also take out some of the most toxic and health harming chemicals that are in plastics that leach into our food and beverages, and or that when they get burned by the trash incinerator, produce some of the worse pollution that can either be directly breathed into our lungs or carried into our lungs by microplastic particles that absorb them when they're burned. So this would really kind of shut off the spigot, the source of plastics, and make it much easier for our Department of Environmental Facilities. So again, another plug for our Waste Summit. And then, as always, like if any of these initiatives are exciting to you, or you want to get more involved, we would love to have you. Our volunteers, if you even just want a table for a couple of hours at one of these events that I've spoken about, we could use your help. We have core group members at each of them, so you wouldn't be by yourself. You wouldn't have to know the answers to all the questions. But we have our core group meetings Wednesdays at 6 p.m. on Zoom, and we also have an alternate for a kind of work session Mondays at 2:30. And you can reach out to us at WASSPeekskill@gmail.com. And really, you don't need to have any experience, just a desire to make change. So our next Zero Waste Task Force is Wednesday, May 20th, and the topic is the Albany update. So we are going to have orgs Beyond Plastics, hopefully New York Renews, possibly Earth Justice, as well as NYPIRG talking about the bottle bill. Basically, groups that are, active in Albany to advocate for sustainability laws and things that would make our work here in Westchester easier. So Senator Pete Harckham, who's the chair of the Environment and Conservation Committee, is going to try and join us. So, you will be hearing the latest. The budget's already overdue. We don't know what the situation will be next month. But definitely put that on your calendar and plan to join. And with that, I'm going to stop sharing, but we can continue the discussion. And I see Lila is dropping things in the chat. And Sarah, thank you for posting that. Sarah posted in the chat, Sierra Club is also hosting a candidate forum that is on April 27th, and that I believe is a virtual one on Zoom.
It
And so,
is.
yep, so that link is also in the chat. So if you can't make the one in person, or even if you are like me, go to both. Hear the consistency of our candidates, give them, see how their positions evolve and their understanding of these critical issues deepen. CD17 really feels like we have a bullseye on our backs. We have a lot of polluting infrastructure, and so the environmental issues are paramount. So I
And
encourage you to
in, in
attend. Go ahead.
addition to Kate and Beth, we have Mike Sachs and Effie Phillips Daly. So we feel strongly we want to have all candidates represented.
Excellent. Thank you, Sarah. Yeah, so we have, I encourage you to attend and see where they stand on these issues, because there is some space between them on these topics. So, all right, with that, I'm going to stop sharing and we can continue the discussion. Do others have more questions? Or maybe I'll call on Catherine Parker. So many of us know Catherine Parker as a county legislator and a real champion of environmental issues here in the county, but she was term limited and now she has a new position. And I'd love for her to share with us about that. So, Catherine, why don't you speak up?
Sure. By the way, thank you to Vincent. I think that was a really informative presentation. And so here's what I'm doing. I am working with Vincent at the Westchester County Department of Environmental Facilities. And the reason why I was brought on is because we are working really hard. We did the waste reduction study, and now, we want to continue to really get all of our municipalities to do everything that we offer, all the programs. And we're even going to be looking at introducing some new programs to pull more out of the waste stream and continue working at reducing our waste. And of course, as you all know, New York State DEC has set a very ambitious goal for 2050 of reducing the waste that goes in the waste stream by 85%. So we're right now 54% of what people get rid of is recycled in some capacity, but we have a little bit of a ways to go. So I've got some special projects that I will be working on. One, I will just say, the first thing that I'm working with Vincent and a few others is dealing with multifamily housing and sort of the additional challenges that multifamily housing has. And it's a multi-pronged problem. There's so many reasons, from just simple education about proper recycling, to people being constrained by not having enough space, and all the different levels of from the superintendents and the building managers and the building owners, who are all part of that situation. So that's what I'm going to be doing, and I look forward to working with you all going forward.
Awesome.
Oh, hi, Lisa. I didn't see you were on the Zoom.
Caitlin has a question.
Sure.
I guess my question could be to either Vincent or to Catherine. I was wondering about the textiles in particular, I guess the ones that are collected via HelpSee that go to the municipality. I think you mentioned that they received like a per pound rate for them. Is that right, Vincent? I was wondering what that was, the rate.
Yes, yes, I can take that. The rate is 7 cents a pound, I believe, is the
Okay.
rate for curbside collected textiles.
And is it the same at, so the county receives that for the
No.
bins? Oh, well, I'm asking for the bins that are at,
Oh, yeah, sorry.
at the H.
Jumping the gun.
Yeah, I
Yes,
knew, yeah,
correct.
because but for the ones that are located in Valhalla, the county receives.
Right, and that's the only ones we received.
And what about for those collection days?
Well, yeah, that's like so the HRD is correct, and the bins, the actual DEF led things are what we would get paid by pound for.
Okay. And then one last question that I was just curious about. Like, I know if I went to the HelpSee site, I could sign up for an individual pickup, like at my house, and I don't think that that money would go to my municipality. Is that correct?
No, that money should be going directly to your municipality.
Oh, it would.
Yes,
Okay.
they collect. They meaning HelpSee collects municipal pickups, and then they track the weight and pay that rate based on what they collect.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yep.
Thanks so much.
Marcia, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I'm just, our United Nations Association wants to have a fundraiser on sustainable fashion. We already have some designers who are reusing textiles to make some beautiful thing. I'm just wondering if Vincent or Catherine knows of somebody in Westchester who's doing that, who's using recycled clothing or, reusing clothing to make something else. That would
May
be a
I take that,
nice
Vincent?
design.
So, Arts Westchester did a terrific fashion show with several high schools in the county that they did exactly that, showing that you can make something new and beautiful out of recycled
Right.
material. And I'm not sure if that, my recollection is it was like 2 or 3 years ago that was the first time doing it. But I wonder if that was the kickoff of it, if they're still doing it. And I would reach out to Arts Westchester because,
Okay.
they have their own building in White Plains. They have studio space. They really can, do it all the way through. They have sewing instructors too, and I'm sure they'd be a very good partner for you.
That sounds like a good tip. Thank you.
Yeah.
Vincent, you don't know anything about this. I mean, I don't know if they sort these clothes by
No, I'm
something that's
sorry.
more quality, like silk or something, or
So HelpSee, they sort it. They have their own sorting system. I did see it once. And it's I don't want to speak to it because I don't actually
okay,
recall
but
everything,
those
but I
things
know
would
it's
go
like
to a thrift shop, I suppose.
yeah, correct.
Okay. Thank you.
Other questions? All right. Well, thank you so much, Vincent, for that. It's really helpful because, yeah, we were a little bit confused, like from the website about like which municipalities did help see and which didn't. For folks who, for our action item tonight, let me put the link in the chat right now. This link will take you to each municipality and then the phone number of the municipal office that handles the recycling. So if your municipality is not one of the ones that were listed on the slides as participating with HelpSee for the pickup, give them a ring and ask them, tell them you want them to. Or if they are participating, maybe reach out and say, can we do more promotion of this as an option for our municipality? Can we make this a regular occurrence, like quarterly? There is a textiles day and everybody puts it out. So these, the more that our decision makers hear from us as wanting these, the more we will get them. And the more, and I think it also helps the county to decide where they're going to invest effort if they see like municipalities all over the county or the waste district are, chomping at the bit for textiles recycling. This is kind of how we get them to prioritize those things and put resources there. So, thank you all for your time. And we went over by a little bit, but I think a lot is going on, lots of events. I hope to see many of you at the various Earth Day things. We've got multiple teams of WAS volunteers, like spreading out to being able to cover. Some of these things are happening. Oh, actually, I just realized I must have like hidden one of my events because we are going to be at the WestPac Social Forum, which let me find the link for that on the
28th, I think.
Was it the 28th? I thought it was the 26th. But
Maybe.
now it's not coming up because it thinks I'm a robot.
Oh, maybe it's the 26th, yeah.
Oh no, yeah, 26th.
At noon to 5.
So we will be kind of doing double duty on that day. So please, come up and say hi to us when you see us. And thanks everyone for your time tonight.
Bye-bye. Good to see everyone. Thank you.
Good night.
Good night.
Night.